So we got a lot of positive feedback from that story I told about how I started basically grading and potentially fining method ambassador students or academy students that came through my program that didn't take care of their horse's feet and didn't prepare them to be standing still for the farrier. That video got a tremendous amount of feedback and positive feedback from not only farriers but people in general that are just tired of shitty, unbroke horses and shitty owners that aren't training their horses to stand still for a professional farrier so that he can do his job, okay? So we'll go ahead and play that video now. And at the end of the video, I want to go ahead and share the grading sheet and how I used the grading sheet. Because a lot of people said, Clinton, show me the grading sheet, how you used it. And so I'll show you that at the end. We'll play the video and I'll come back and show you at the end. I can't stand people not training their horses for their farriers to stand still, to either have their feet trimmed or to be shod, okay? I am the biggest supporter for farriers all over the world because I used to be one, okay? A lot of people don't know this, but in my early days of my horsemanship career, I used to shoe horses for money. I used to shoe horses for extra money. You know, I started colts, I fixed problem horses, I shod horses. I did whatever I could to make a living, okay? So I've been under a horse and I've shod thousands of horses over the years, okay? And I know what it's like to shoe a horse that doesn't stand still. I know it's like to shoe a horse that leans on you. I know what it's like to shoe a horse that's a jackass. And it makes an already difficult job unbearable. And really it makes you hate it. So I've always been on this pro-farrier speech about it's not your farrier's job to train your horse, it's your job to train your horse. That's your job as a horse owner. I would say the most valuable lesson that I ever learned as a young horseman from Gordon McKinley, when I was 15 years old, I left high school and I went to work for him full time, you know, starting colts and problem horses and stuff. And about 2 months into my apprenticeship, Gordon said, I'm going to teach you how to shoe horses. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd. Why would I learn how to shoe horses? I don't want to be a farrier. But anyway, I went along with it and I didn't think it would be that difficult. Well, once I start getting underneath the horse and start filing on their feet and doing everything the farrier does, it's like, holy shit, my back hurts, my legs hurt. I mean, this is uncomfortable. This is difficult. So I start whining a little bit. And I said to Gordon, I said, why are you teaching me to shoe horses? I don't want to be a farrier. And he said, I know that. And I said, well, why are you teaching me to do this? He said, because if I teach you how to shoe horses, you'll be really good at preparing horses' feet. You'll be the best at making sure your horses stand for the farrier. And I said, what do you mean? He said, because when you're shoeing the horse, Clinton, and you haven't done a good job preparing the horse, and it's kicking at you and stomping on you and running you around and won't stand still, you'll feel that pain through your whole body. But if you've done your job, and he stands there quietly because you've done your steps and you've done your job, it'll make the job a lot easier. Well, I didn't quite understand at that point, but I soon understand pretty quickly onwards. So for the next probably 5 years, I shod lots of horses. Every horse I had in training, every colt I had to start, every problem horse, I shod them all because I needed the money, okay? So if I knew I had to shoe the horse 2 weeks from now, it's a colt, like a wild horse, never had shoes on it. I'm working with his feet every day leading up to 2 weeks. So by the time I go to shoe him, it's no big drama. I can just dally the lead rope around the rail, pick up all 4 feet and shoe him. I got very little trouble out of him. But if I left it too late and I got to shoe it in 2 days' time, oh, it was a disaster, okay? We're not drugging them now. We got to go with what you got, okay? So I always tell farriers the quickest way to curb people's behavior is through their checkbook. So I tell farriers for years, somebody doesn't want to prepare their horse to have its feet handled, charge them for it. Charge them an extra $100, okay? You get that bill a couple of times, they'll soon wake up and say, oh, it's my job to train. It's like this. I know some people have done this. This is how fucking stupid humans are. But most people don't have enough disrespect to do this, okay? Most people, if their vet showed up to vaccinate their horse or work on their horse, they wouldn't leave it in a 50-acre field, and when the vet shows up, hand the vet the halter and say, hey, listen, I'm going in the house. The horse is out in the field. I need you to go out there and catch it, bring it back to the barn, do what you need to do, and then would you mind turning it back in the pasture? I'm sure some idiot's done that. But most people wouldn't have the gall to do that. When the vet shows up, you lead the horse out, you present him the horse, you hold the horse while he can do his job. Because the vet's a professional. He's got to do his job. His job's not to catch your horse. His job's not to turn it out. His job's not to walk through a 50-acre muddy field trying to catch your son of a bitch and won't be caught. But honestly, that's what people expect farriers to do. I know a lot of barefoot trimmers that owners will literally say, go catch it as well. Start charging them for that shit. Charge them an inconvenience fee. Okay? You'd be amazed when you start hitting people's checkbooks, they wake up real quickly. Okay? So if it won't stand there, charge them extra $100. I always love telling this story. So I always pride myself in my horsemanship program on my horses stand for farriers. If they've been through my program and my method and my barn, you know, my ranch and my students, my pride is that they stand there like statues. Like you could drop the lead rope and the farrier could shoe it with nobody hanging onto it. That kind of broke, okay? And so several years ago, he might be dead now, I don't know if he's still a name. His name was Dale. Great old guy, great farrier, great old guy. And he came to me one day and he said, hey, Clinton, I need to talk to you about these horses because we had about 4 or 5 academy students that were all training academy horses on the ranch. And he came to me and he said, hey, I don't know if you're aware of this, but these horses are really shitty to be shod. They're not standing still. I haven't had a trouble with this in the past, but they're all getting worse and worse and worse. And he said, it's almost to the point where, I'm going to quit you if your horses don't stand here. I probably can't keep coming back here and shoeing. I was embarrassed. There's one thing you can't do to me. You can burn my barn down, I'll forgive you. You can steal my horse, I'll forgive you. You can rob me, I'll still forgive you. But the one thing you can't do to me that I'll never forgive you is embarrass me, okay? And that embarrassed me. When this farrier walked up to me and basically said, the horses that are on your ranch that these kids are training are pieces of shit and they're not standing here, I saw red. So I said, thank you, Dale, for telling me. I said, I apologize to you, Dale. This should not have never happened. I didn't know this was a problem. I've taught them all better than this. So I said, I'm going to fix this. So I get all these son of bitches up and I line them up like a firing squad. And I cuss them all out upside one, down the other. And I said, you don't ever embarrass the boss. And I said, here's we're going to fix this, okay? So I made a sheet up, okay, a farrier guiding sheet, okay? And you're going to hand this to Dale when he goes to shoe your horses. And you're going to get graded from 1 to 5. Left front, left hind, right hind. And then the last category was overall disposition, 1 to 5. Okay? So it's 4 legs is 20 points and overall demeanor or disposition is another 5 points. So they could get a maximum of 25 points for a perfect score. 5 per rating is a perfect score. So 25 is a perfect overall score. Horse gave no trouble, stood there like a statue. I said, if you guys get 20 or below, so you got to get 21, 22, 23, or 24, 25, but you got to get 21 and above. If you get 20 or below, you got to pay Dale $100 out of your pocket, cash. That goes to him. We all clear? Yep. And at the end of it, at the bottom of the piece of paper, I made Dale sign it, and I made the students sign it. And I said, guess what, guys? If you think that Dale's misjudging you or grading you poorly or not being fair because he's so mean, I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you protest it. You can sign the bottom. It says, I feel like I've been scored unfairly. And guess what? I'm going to get notified of that, and I'm going to walk straight out of that office out here, and I'm going to pick up its feet, and I'm going to start going to hammering on it. But I promise you this. If you get me involved and it doesn't get better at 21 or better, I'm going to charge you $3,000. Are you clear about that? So be careful if you're going to get me involved. Now, if it stands there like an angel and Dale gave you a score of 12 and it was really 21, Dale will owe you $100. Are we clear? And I said this right in front of Dale, right in front of the student. So I said, Dale, you're not going to abuse this. You have the power to take money out of these kids' hands. I knew he wasn't going to do it, but I just said it in front of everybody. And I said, you have the ability to take money out of their hands. And I said, but I don't think you will. And he wasn't. He's old school. He's salt of the earth, this guy was. But I said, this is to hold these kids accountable. Guess what? They go through one whole shoe-in cycle. I walk out to Dale about, 3 or 4 weeks later or whatever it was. And I pull him aside and I said, Dale, how's our little, that's what I said to him. I said, Dale, you must be rolling in cash, are you? All these kids giving you all this money? He laughed and he said, I haven't got 1 cent out of these little son of bitches, not one. We laughed about it. And I said, good, that's their job. It's funny, when I started threatening to take money out of their pocket, they did their job. What made me so mad about this whole story is these kids knew better. I trained them how to do this. It wasn't new. They didn't have a lack of knowledge. They had a lack of laziness. They had laziness. They had not given a shit, and they embarrassed me. Since that day to this day, I still make the students fill out that training card, the Farrier, fill that training card out and judge it, and they email it to me. When they get done, they have to take a photo of it and email it to me. That fixed that whole problem. So farriers start charging people for doing a shitty job on preparing their horses. And if that customer bitches about it or leaves you, get rid of them, find a better customer. Let somebody else that's more desperate take care of their bullshit, okay? So be accountable. Farrier's job is really difficult. And if you've never done it, you probably should pick a foot up and actually try to do it for 10 minutes. Because then you'll quit bitching about his bill, I promise you. When it's your back, your legs, you will have a whole healthy respect for farriers. So I'm always pro-farrier, that's for sure. So now that you've seen the video, it's in context. Here is the grading sheet. We'll put it up on the screen now. So it's pretty simple. I just call it the Farrier grading sheet. Okay, each student had to hand this sheet to the farrier for him to fill out at the end of the shoeing. Okay, so on the left-hand column here, we've got the student's name, horse's name. And then we broke each leg down, left front, left hind, right front, right hind, and then overall demeanor, okay? And the farrier had to circle between 1 and 5, okay? And then any notes on that particular leg. So like, you know, for example, left front, he could put a note in there, didn't stand still well for left front, blah, 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 okay? So on the grading, just to let you know what it was, is we had another category in here called overall demeanor. That's an important one. So 1 was an extremely low score, kick your head off. 2 was nearly unmanageable. 3 was problems that disrupted the process and took additional time for the farrier. 4, only very minor problems that didn't disrupt the process. And 5 was perfect, okay? So basically each foot was graded, and then the overall demeanor of the horse was graded. How calm was he overall, relaxed, head down, etc. Okay? So if you got a 5 in each category, that meant you got a perfect score of 25. Without being fined, the student had to get 20 or above not to get fined. So if they got under 20, they were fined $50 and they had to pay the farrier an additional $50. And I said in the story, as soon as I started hitting these kids' checkbook, pretty soon all these farriering problems fucking disappeared real quick. It's funny when you start hitting people in their pocket, people take shit seriously. And I've been always pro-farrier. Charge customers more money for their horses that misbehave. They'll do one or two things. They'll either fix the behavior so that you don't have any more trouble, or they'll pay you more money. One of the two. And if they get rid of you, fine, get rid of them. Get rid of them. If they drop you as a farrier, there's always another customer that will take their spot. Do you really want a spot of a shitty horse that won't stand still? The answer is no. So this is the grading sheet. And then underneath this, it says, I believe I have been fairly graded with the horse's behavior in relation to how difficult, how it affected my ability to get my job done. The farrier signed it. The student signed it as well. When horses would come into the academy, if they did not have shoes on them, I did not hold them to this standard in the first 2 weeks of training, because it's going to take a couple of weeks. Some of these horses were so badly trained, so many problems, disrespectful behavior, fear for behavior, etc., that if we had to put shoes on them on day 7, I couldn't hold them to this higher standard, because in the student's defense, they haven't had long enough to train the horse. So we tried not to ever shoe a horse in the first 2 weeks of it coming to the ranch. If we could get them to bring the horse with shoes on them, we would, but we'd try not to reshoe them within 2 weeks. Why? Because we haven't had enough time to change the horse's behavior to this high of a standard. So that's what the bottom note was, is that if it had to get shoes on or its feet worked on within the first 2 weeks, I let them off the hook, basically. Okay, not that I liked it, but I let them off the hook a little bit. But after 2 weeks, if they didn't stand still for a score of 20 and above, they had to owe the farrier $50. Now, my farrier never made any money. His name was Dale, good old guy. He never made any money. I wish he would have, but he never did. Because as soon as we told these students this is coming out of their pockets, they got their shit together immediately. So people asked for it. This was our farrier grading sheet. It worked wonders. I think farriers could do this with every customer they train a horse for. Put it on a clipboard. You know what I mean? I think this would make people accountable. When people have skin in the game, they take shit seriously. When they don't have skin in the game, they don't care. I wish every owner in the world could just shoe one horse in their lifetime, get under all 4 feet around August of every year, and just feel that heat, feel that pain, feel that burn in your legs, feel that burn in your back. And they will never bitch about a farrier bill ever again. I want, until you walk in a farrier's shoes, you have no idea how difficult that job is and how hard it is on your body.
Take your horsemanship to the next level. The No Worries Club Premium membership is your ultimate portal to complete your horse training. You'll have access to Clinton's complete training library, thousands of hours of step-by-step instructional videos. You'll master all aspects of horsemanship, from fundamentals to trick training. You'll have access to our exclusive social network that connects you with thousands of dedicated horsemen from around the world. You'll have the method available wherever you are and accessible through the web, your phone and tablets, or your favorite streaming devices. You'll receive 8 all-new training videos per year and the quarterly No Worries Journal, as well as access to the ever-growing video library, Q&As, performance horse series, blogs, and more. But that's not all. You also get free tickets to walkabout tours and priority access to the latest news coming from Down Under Horsemanship. Not to mention VIP pricing on all of Clinton's must-have training tools. So what are you waiting for? Unlock the ultimate access and jumpstart your training program today.